All right, it looks like we're live for real this time, first time. I think I'm getting the hang of this, so let me bring in, we have Matt and Janek joining us, and we'll be going over a few things we have lined up today, going over some interesting details on the SD70M, and also a few things that are going on with the Western Pacific FP7s. Matt, if you have anything else that you might want to add, feel free to add into it. But we also have Janek with something he's been working on behind the scenes. Then at the end of it, we'll be taking your questions and anything else that kind of pops up along the way. We'll be doing a little bit of Q&A and rail fanning over on the CSX River Sub today. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to jump right into it. So starting off with the SD70s, there's some interesting things here. And Janek, I think you and I kind of stumbled upon it earlier in the week here, yesterday actually. Well, I mean, obviously we're doing 4884 again. There was some interesting things with the Union Pacific, for example. I think you kind of brought it up, maybe talking to Jack. What's going on with the Union Pacific here?
With the 4884, they specifically chose that one to pull the big boy out of Pomona because 4884 is the same wheel arrangement as the big boy, because it's right. The big boy is a 4884 wheel arrangement. So you put the number 4884 on there to pull it. That's kind of a nod towards the wheel arrangement.
Well, what also was interesting was it did take lead when it was pulling the 4014 out of Pomona for a moment, and then I think they changed locomotives on the way back over to Wyoming. Was that the situation on that?
Yeah, I think they ended up with the UP 4014 leading the SD70M. So, and that's another one that we've offered before. So I think with those three together, you can make an entire prototype of this train right here. So yeah, we're pretty close to it.
Yeah, they pulled 4014 out of Pomona with UP 1996, and then whenever they did that trip back to Cheyenne, they used 4884 and then the SD70M 4004.
That's right. Didn't they use that was the SP Heritage, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that kind of popped up here, and we can go side by side. Something that was introduced to me, and it's not obvious, is the door arrangement on the underneath the exhaust panel. There's actually 3 doors on one body and 2 doors on the 4884. That was something that was just kind of what I noticed here, talking to Jack and Janek earlier in the week. I think there was some confusion about that. Let me get that a little bit more in the frame here. And that's a subtle detail there, don't you think?
Yeah, that's a spotting feature, because otherwise I think these things are the same. So right. They made subtle little changes to the body over the years, just running changes to the production. So we've recreated that with our models here.
Yeah, if you don't know it, I mean, it's kind of hard to see just looking at the line art, and if you're not really familiar with all the different production deliveries of the SD70M, that could totally get overlooked. So thank you for bringing that up earlier in the week. It was pretty cool checking that out.
Well, and most people know about the flared radiators on the SD70M, which came about 2001. They started putting those on there. And most people know about that. That's a pretty visible difference. And these units are all flared radiator units, but actually they have that other difference that you mentioned with the doors under the exhaust. So
yeah, different door arrangement underneath the exhaust exhaust stack, also different number series as well. But, you know, going on a little bit into what's below this, let's take a look at, we're also doing some of these leasing era or the leasing service SD70Ms as well. These were what, the former demonstrators, Janek?
You know, I think these started out in leasing service because they had the 3 demonstrators, the 7000 to the 7002. Those were the original 3 demonstrators. But I think these, with the black underframe, these were leasers from the get-go.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure, along with the maroon ones.
No, that makes a lot of sense, actually. We're doing 4 different road numbers for the EMD leasing. Coincidentally, a few of them went over to CSX, right?
Yes, CSX wound up with a lot of these, and at first they just patched them with a CSX number, like you can see in this photo, and they lasted like that for quite a while. Eventually, they started getting repainted into the full CSX scheme. But it's interesting about this one. Even after it was repainted, I don't know if you guys can see it there on top of the cab, but it still has the beacon there.
Yeah,
from when it was
sure does.
Service.
That's definitely a spotting feature.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual for CSX to have a beacon like that. That's pretty unusual. I don't think I've ever seen it before. So, but hey, we found it. So.
in such late paint too at that,
Yeah.
you know. So that's pretty interesting.
Another
one that
until like the 2010s, the early 2010s, it was like this, I think.
Wow. No, that's a really cool. That's a really cool variant right there. I thought the beacons all pretty much got pulled off by, the late 90s. So it's a survivor. I think the CSX just forgot it was up there or something.
Yep. Missed one.
So the next one we're doing also is the SD70i. Something that of to note on these two is that they also we're doing for the first time the CN version with the web address underneath the noodle. Also, the 70i was like had this, what was that, Matt? It was like a black buffer strip around the nose or something?
So the I symbols that they had the isolated cab and what
Did we lose Matt?
I think we lost Matt for a second there.
He was having some trouble earlier.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. But yes, it's the isolated cab.
Yeah.
And it was pretty distinctive too.
Am I back?
You're back.
Oh, I am. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on my screen. Sorry about that.
And welcome back.
Okay, I switched off of Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, but yeah, so that big rubber gasket around it isolated the cab off the frame and other integral parts so that the vibrations and the noises inside the cab were a lot less and were dampened quite a bit for crew comfort. And so that's what that big line in the nose is just that isolation seam.
Ah, that makes sense.
And
so it was, so the cab was kind of on what, some shocks or something?
It was just on a big rubber buffer more than anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just like a big rubber snubber, and it just sort of helped absorb those vibrations that were coming straight off the frame. That's where some of the locomotives modern locomotives has gotten the term thunder cab is because they don't have that isolation gasket around it, and so the cabs, they're just so noisy on the inside and so aggravating that even the engineer and the conductor can't hardly hold a conversation when the locomotives that run 8 grinding up a hill. So
yeah. Yeah, it's just this is probably what really led to future cab designs too, didn't it?
definitely. I know, like some of the BNSF SD70 ACEs, some of the early ones didn't have that isolation on them, and the majority of them are now up in the coal fields, running Powder River Basin coal, and they are B units only. They are not allowed to run crews in the cabs of those, just for crew comfort. So.
Right. Well, something I want to do too is just give a shout out to Rob Arsenal. He did a really nice job weathering up one of our SD70Is from one of the earlier releases. And as you can see, this one doesn't have the web address underneath the logo on the long hood. But yeah, just looking at this, I mean, it just shows you how real these things can look with just a little bit of paint, which is really awesome.
Yeah, whenever we shared this photo, I mean, it was the first time I had seen it from Rob's page, and because the CN goes right through Champaign here, and whenever I saw that, it's like, yep, that's it, nailed it.
That's pretty much how they look, huh?
Yep.
And I'd like to give a little shout out to Rob, because he got in touch with us recently, and he had some additional information about the CN logo on our engines. He wanted to make sure that it was the right size, and he gave us some reference material on that, and so we went ahead and updated our artwork to be closer to the right size. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you a lot for that, Rob. I really appreciate all your help with any sort of insight that you can give to improve our models. So next up, we have something that, we had a few requests, wouldn't you say, Matt, for the Western Pacific FP7s?
Most definitely. Whenever we made the announcement earlier in the year for FP7s, we had a couple of dealers reach out that have the direct line, the bat phone, if you will, and we're just sort of asking, hey, have you guys thought about doing some WP units? It's been a while, and guys are hard up for them, can't find them, that type of stuff. And then at the Springfield show in January, and then at the Denver show, especially at the Denver show, we just were getting inundated with requests for the WP FP7s. And we had also, especially at the Springfield show, a lot of customers and Athearn supporters were coming up saying, hey, there's a really nice run of California Zephyr cars that have just been released from another manufacturer, and we can't find any locomotives to pull it. Would you guys want to run the FP7s again? Because there's cars out there, there's trains out there that need power, and your guys' FP7 is perfect for this train. So it was one of... Did I lose you guys again? Here I am.
Couple seconds, yeah.
Okay. We had enough customer requests from areas outside of the WP fan base that we sort of decided, you know what, I think there's some definite validity to this. It's almost like the SD60M, except this was a lot more ready to go. So we went to Janek with big puppy dog eyes and said, hey, can you get your team to get this done? And here they are.
Yeah, really excited to have them on here too.
I had so many WP guys contacting me with information for these. It was great.
And the Prime for Grime units that you all conjured up out there, those surprise me every time. But the Prime for Grime units you came up with look really good. So if I haven't said it in any email chains, kudos to you and your team, and then to our art department for getting the artwork so spot on. They look great.
Well, that was the thing about the Western Pacific that, people really close to that era and close to railroad. The WP towards I'd say the latter part of passenger service was really struggling to keep things rolling, keep the trains moving and stuff, and keep the California Zephyr, part of American travel at the time. So seeing the Prime for Grime ones just makes perfect sense. I mean, if you're trying to model sort of the later era of the California Zephyr, not the power wasn't perfect by a long stretch.
And actually, these two units, this is the first time we've offered these two units, which were renumbered into freight service. And that's how they looked for the rest of their lives after they had been renumbered. They were in pretty bad shape. So
yeah, I can see that. That was the thing about the WP of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
So
and there's a couple of differences between them too. I mean, you can see that they've got different horns on them, and the
oh right, yeah,
the gyro light at the top of the nose, it's different between them. So they got
let me see if I could zoom in a little bit more on this for you, so you can see some of those details you're spotting.
Yeah, so the 815, or the 915A, I should say, that's got the double light at the top. So one's the white and one's the red. And then the 915D, or the 916D, sorry, it's hard for me to see. That's got the single light. So
yeah, you definitely can see some of those subtle details, and each one of WP's locomotives had something a little non-standard about them, which is really cool that this was integrated into the model.
yeah, they seem to. And we're also offering the F3B units so that you can, those are the passenger units as well. So you can make a whole easy set with what we're announcing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Janek, you recall last time that we got on and did a Train Tuesday, you were trying to share some neat stuff that you were working on with everyone that was tuned in at the time. So you ended up making this Facebook post, kind of letting everybody know that, hey, this is what we got coming up next. So you showed off the Canadian Pacific 53-foot containers.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning of these new containers we're working on.
So what's the story on the CP one? So what kind of prompted you to kind of look at these and get excited about these?
Well, I can't say that I didn't enjoy seeing these when I was out in Champaign. I was out there for a while with Chris, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to do some work, go to Train Fest and stuff. But in the downtime we did a little bit of rail fanning, and I got to see a ton of these things going by, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen one of those before. These are cool.
You guys see all the good stuff.
All we see out here is JB Hunt, Schneider, EMT. That's all we see. So
yeah.
So Chris is like, yeah, we should do the Canadian Pacific and the CN as well. I wonder. So
speak of the CN.
Look at that. Man. And I think some people are asking for the Estes as well.
Yeah. There were some requests for the Werner Global. I believe that was out over at Chantilly. I remember writing it down. And then also the Estes too.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of requests for those. And actually, I shot a few over in San Bernardino not too long ago, so we had some good photos to work off of.
So we're going to be announcing these here pretty soon. I think these are going to be announced in the next group here coming up in another week and a half at the April 24th. So if you're interested in these containers, be sure to come back next Friday and have a closer look, be able to check out the PDF and also the product slicks too. So the next part of this is kind of going off, going back to kind of like taking some questions and just also responding to customer comments. I pulled up a railfan stream on the CSX River Sub, so we might actually get lucky while we're taking everybody's comments and questions. We might actually see a CSX train roll on by here.
With any luck.
Let's, yeah, with a little luck. So let's see.
I know I saw one earlier back to the WP F units. Rick Lefevre was asking if there was going to be B units with those.
I believe there are B units. There's a standalone F3B available with that. Is that right, Janek?
Yeah, there's also a set which is an FP7 and an F3B. So a lot of the times on the Zephyr, you would see one FP7 and two F3Bs. That wasn't the only configuration, but it was a common configuration. So with what we're offering, you'll be able to recreate that configuration.
Another question for, will there be a new release of NS Heritage units?
So, yeah, I saw the NS Heritage units question, and I saw the UP Heritage units question up there a little earlier as well.
Yeah.
We have some neat new features coming for the SD70 ACE. We should be getting that tooling updated and getting the first test shots, I would imagine, in June sometime. And then once we get everything sort of set to go on those, we'll be able to share the new updates and the new features and everything like that. And we'll be able to get an announcement out and see what you guys think of that. So I would imagine that there'll be some Heritage units in there. I sort of leave that to Janek and Chris, but look for some new details on those coming soon.
There was also a question about, are there going to be any more steam locomotives coming up after 4014?
Steam locomotives, I am working on updating some of the existing steam locomotives that we have in the line. I'm not saying no to new tooling projects. There are some steam locomotive projects that we are very interested in working on. It's all a matter of schedule prioritization with our engineers and with the tool shop and that type of stuff. So steam is definitely not dead here at Athearn. It's just, let's get some of the higher sought after items that we're good at doing out of the way first.
Right. So also, let's see here. Any chance of SD9043?
There's always a chance.
That's something kind of near and dear to you, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't like you and Janek. You guys rail fan and champagne and see all the good stuff. Yeah, you don't happen to have that video handy, do you, Chris? Whenever UP reactivated a handful of those SD90 Max, what was that, 2 years ago now? Gosh, doesn't seem that long. But you caught one of them on a train headed north here through Champaign, and I was out of town somewhere again, and you caught one of my children.
This is kind of a tangent to what we've been chatting about in 9043s. Any chance of doing Canadian Pacific SD70 ACUs?
Definitely not ruling that one out at this time. There's a lot of commonality between those and the 90 Max and then the 90 Max Phase 2s. So I wouldn't rule that off the table at this time. Definitely not.
We got a comment coming in from YouTube, kind of seconding some more SD 9043s in Union Pacific. So,
so my question about those would be then, which would be your preference for those of you asking about UP SD 90 Max, which I call them 90 Max because that's what is on the builder's plate, but for the railfan term 9043, what would be your preference for those? Yellow frame stripe and baby wings on the nose, or would you want red frame stripe as delivered? What are you thinking, guys? Let us know in the comments.
Another gentleman here, Christopher Acuna, requests KCS 4006.
I would imagine that would probably be done when the updated ACE gets put back into line. Again, I sort of leave that to you and Janek.
I've actually got some decent photos of that one from one of my contacts in the Midwest. So I think we got enough to make a good run at it. So.
Oh, good.
We have another comment coming in from YouTube. Steam locomotive suggestions for the Santa Fe 3751 and N-scale and HO. And he also comments, manufacturers always forget about Santa Fe steam. Well, thank you for reminding us there. It's something that we would definitely consider. What do you guys think?
I am definitely a strong proponent of the 2900 series Northerns. Because number one, I just like big locomotive power to start with, but the 2900s, the Northern class, but then also the, oh man, what was the number series? Were they the 5000s, the Texas class? Those would be really neat to do. The 2900s and the 5000s. I think they were 5000s. Don't quote me on that.
Yep. Let's see. We speaking of some Illinois Central stuff and some local stuff around here, Matt, we got a request for, would love IC Death Star SD40s, not the Dash 2s. So he's talking about the straight SD40s.
I think we have the detail variants for those parts, don't we, Janek?
I don't think there's anything on those that's out of the question.
Yeah, I didn't think so. It's not like it's the SD40A or anything like that, or the SD40X. So
yeah.
Got another one coming in from Miguel Chavez. Welcome to Modeling Southern Railway Anything. So he's interested in anything Southern. And also we have a gentleman. Let's see here if I can get it right.
Ooh,
he's asking for Alaska Railroad SD70 Max. What do you guys think?
I would like some Alaska Railroad 70 Max, and I don't have anything to run with them.
Is that kind of like deja vu for you at all there, Janek?
We seem to get requests for those like every other week. So we're definitely taking that into consideration with our 2020 plan. The SD70 Mac, it needs a little bit of love, I think. But when we do it again, I think it's going to have some nice upgrades to it. So you guys should look out for that as well.
Red Butler comments and he says, need more CSX. More CSX. Rah, rah, rah.
Spelled M-O-A-R.
CSX. Yep. We got those CSX GP4A-2s. I just looked at them today. So those should be here pretty soon.
So we also have another comment requesting something completely different now. Touch of the Brush Model Weathering asks for, I'm a ticket agent at the Arkansas-Missouri Railroad, and I bet, Matt, you can see where this one's going.
I do. I think we've got a couple of people we got to talk to about that one first. But the good news is we know the people to talk to.
Right.
So
yeah, so we're interested in more on that in the future. So keep checking new announcements and see what we can do for you. So let's see. Here's another request for CN Rail Genesis Gevos.
You and me both, Ramsey. Since that's sort of all we see here through Champaign, it's a request that I even have. So if it's something I want, chances are good.
Here's something for all y'all out in California.
Yeah, Janek, what do you think about those?
Who needs them, man? No, that's like one of our top 5 requests that we get is those cars.
Yeah,
they've been around forever now, it seems, and they're not available in plastic and HO scale. So that's high up on our list, definitely.
Yeah, what all pulled those? Just the F-59s and the P-42s on occasion, right? And then, of course, now the Siemens locomotive. But there weren't any F-40s that ran those, were there?
Yeah, you know what? There might have been at the very beginning. I know they had some F-40s that were actually painted in that scheme. But photos of them running around are pretty rare. So
yeah,
it didn't last long, whatever it was.
Okay.
Actually, I do have a photo of F-40PHs being knocked together with some old Caltrain stuff. I think that was probably a little bit more common around kind of the end of the F-40PH era, was going with Caltrain. Caltrain at the time was really pulling a lot of stuff out of the Bay Area down to Metrolink, which was, trying to find whatever equipment they could find. In fact, for a little while, we saw Go Transit down over in Southern California, too.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I think
so. Here's
Craig Walker posted a couple of photos of the Go Transit units when they were out in the LA area. He processed the images not that long ago, I thought.
So here's one near and dear to you, Matt, in the vein of really big power. I have all the Genesis DDAs produced. Would love to see new road numbers and done in Genesis 2.0.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on the announcement. We've got some things planned for some of the big locomotives like that. Some that I'm excited about. Some I know that Janek's excited about. Chris likes SP, so it's nothing he wants. But
No, we're doing SP when we do them, right?
Yeah. Former SP, right? But no, keep your eyes on the announcement. There's some good things coming for the DDs.
Hey,
Let's
Chris,
see here. We got another one coming in.
Oh, okay.
He's looking for a TA and G GP38. My big question is that a straight GP38 or is that a -2? I'm not really familiar with those.
I'm not familiar with the TA and G either. And if it's something modern, has it been rebuilt? Is it a -3 even,
Yeah. Let's see here. We got also requests for some more Prime for Grime units. See if I can pull this one up.
Yep, always. We will not stop making Prime for Grime stuff. It's very popular.
Along with, sort of similar to our previous conversation about passenger, we have Zachary Mallory asking for rerun of P40 and P42s. What do you guys think about that?
I think the possibility is pretty good for those. And I think the possibility of some updates on those is pretty high as well. That's one of those ones that I'm looking forward to getting out, and hopefully our customers will like some of the changes.
Let's see here. We also have. Let's see. Oh, he's AGS guy says look up tag 80. Hey, yeah, we'll take a look at that and let you know in the comments. If you are commenting and we're not putting up your comment, don't worry, we're going to get back to you. We'll be going into the text and kind of leaving you a textual comment as a response to your question if we don't get to you here. Let's see here. Let's see. Joel Ashcroft, my bad. SD24B.
I tell you, I know I would like some of those because that would go in my fleet over there in Little Ogden.
It definitely would.
One of our guys out in California sent me a photo a couple years ago now of a veranda turbine going around. Was it Frost or was it a little further up the hill? Was it around? I think it was going around Frost, but it had a veranda turbine and two SD24B units behind it, ascending Cajon to go down into LA, and that's something I'm wanting to recreate. So,
yeah, that'd be awesome. So a normal rail fan is kind of along with me on this one. Will we ever get the SD60M trucks with rotating bearing caps as a separate part? Trust me, I want them as a separate part too. What do you think, Matt?
I would say the chances are good.
Here, let me shake the magic 8 ball and see what happens.
What does it say?
The magic 8 ball
All
just
right.
has a stick to poke Matt with. Do it.
So Savory Moore, thank you for the WP FP7s. I inquired for a few years at the Big E, and I'm glad you're rerunning them. Well, you're welcome, and thank you for requesting them and talking to it. And this goes out to everybody out there. If you have requests, I mean, we're listening. As you can see with the SD60Ms, the FP7s, and a number of other projects that we're coming out with, like the 53-foot containers, like there were a number of requests that we've been responding to on that. So really appreciate everybody's comments and ideas and sharing them with us. Let's see here. Here's someone asking for something kind of interesting along the lines of CSX. He's looking for a CSX 4316, which was the next Reading patch GP40-2.
I think we did some of those units. I'm not sure if we did that road number exactly, but we did do a group of CSX patch Reading units recently.
I think, weren't those Conrail?
Oh, they might have been Conrail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to believe that some of them lasted into CSX. I think you might be talking about GP39-2s, but I gotta check.
And here's something for Jack Ross out there back. If he's watching this, Andrew Gray pops up asking more SP power, but without full light packages and with ditch lights.
Ooh.
So kind of the later era of SP.
That's borderline UP patch territory. Uh-oh.
I don't know about that one. Oh, yeah. Daniel says GP39-2. Okay, yeah. We should do those.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Oh, boy. Someone looking for... this one's kind of broken up here. LTEX X CSX SD60Is. That's another one from Andrew Gray. I think he's just like firing off everything at once here. The comments.
It's all the new interesting power that those short lines have been picking up from the massive fire sales from the Class 1s.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of SD60Ms and 60Is and stuff kind of going into secondhand service here, and a lot more colors too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, those orange SD60s, pretty slick looking locomotives.
Yeah. So let's see here. Sacramento Northern F7s. You know what? We've done Sacramento Northern F7s in the past, but we got something new coming up for Sacramento Northern. And I bet you guys can guess what it is based upon some of the requests from earlier here.
Jeremy Johnson, ditch lights are forbidden on SP units.
Ah, the truth.
So Tyler Kinlock asks, any new picks of the CP Rail GP38-2s? So that's a good question.
The production samples are supposed to be shipped. What is today? Production samples are supposed to be shipped, I think, this weekend. And as soon as they are received, we'll get some photos up for you guys. So,
yeah, we're excited about them too.
There were some other people asking for photos of those. I know a lot of people are curious of all the modifications that we did sort of after the first announcement. We got a lot of feedback for making changes, and I know a lot of people want to see that. So.
And let's see here. PRLX XBN BNSF XD60Ms in the 8100 series without the progress rail patches. What do you guys think about that?
Are those the 2-window or the 3-window?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
8100s? I've seen a 3-window one. It was in BNSF orange, but there's probably other ones.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on them right now.
Andrew says they're 3-window. Thank you for that, Andrew. Let's see. We also have coming up here.
I'm drawing a blank, but if they're BNSF units, I'm sure that we'll be able to get them produced.
Yeah. So let's see. Someone's asking. This is an interesting one. Are you guys thinking about going Bluetooth engines? Well, it's something to consider. I just got to see how the technology progresses, and just look at what sort of opportunities may be there. Definitely want to keep our stuff as compatible across the different control manufacturers as we possibly can. So let's see here. Someone's asking, what about an AC 4400?
Well, there's of course the Roundhouse unit that we have, Roundhouse RTR, but I'm sure that's not what they're intending that question to be about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely room for a Genesis 2.0 level AC 4400. And again, that's high on our list, and it's again something that I think a handful of us here at the shop want. So I'd say chances are pretty good for sure.
Another gentleman's asking Matt and Brinson about Dash 9 4-window Canadian cabs with rotating bearing cabs.
Rewind and
We'll
see
have to
previous
consider
comment
that.
about AC 4400s. Yeah, again, Matt, like I sort of mentioned about some of the other stuff, those have been seen through here in Champaign, and actually I've seen them over in Tuscola on the UP line headed north to Chicago as well. But they're seen through here, and something I wouldn't mind modeling. I know there's a couple of other people. Actually, speaking of, there he is right there. Hans, I'm sure he'd be after him for his Champagne sub.
Here's something near and dear to me. Someone's asking for some grip rebuild SD45 T-2Rs. Would love to see some of those. Just me personally, oh my gosh, I'd be in so much trouble.
Oh, I think a lot of people would like to see those.
I'm probably going to get flamed for this question, but remember, I'm Mr. Midwest of the Athearn group. What was different about the -2Rs?
Well, there was the battery box doors, and then also the fan access doors by the radiator compartment were different.
By the radiator doors. So the 3 doors above the radiator intake?
Yeah, they actually had knuckle busters on them versus smooth as delivered.
Okay, all right.
The other thing too is, something kind of minor, but we already kind of have a part for it, is on the replacement nose, they had the class lights were smoothed over.
Okay. Okay. So just small little stuff like that. Nothing major.
Yeah, minor stuff. Minor stuff. So let's see here. Going through some more here. What about more modern tank cars? If I could pull it up. There we go. So,
what tank cars? I mean, I've talked about this with a couple of resources, and there's just tons of tank car prototypes out there. I mean, there's modern tank cars, there's contemporary tank cars, there's 90s, there's second gen, and then they all seem to be different. I mean, are you wanting like crude oil? You want ethanol? You want propane? You want clay slurry? You want anhydrous? I mean, what kind are we thinking about?
Yeah, let us know what.
Yeah.
Let's see. Personally, go ahead.
Go ahead, Janek.
Oh, let's say the ones I really like personally are those ARI cars with the spiral beams on them. Those are cool.
Well, what's happening right now is it seems like the .111 tank cars are going to be going away. So the entire tank car fleet is going to be updated at some point. So all new tank cars for everything moving forward at some point. So it's something for us to definitely consider. I'm a freight car guy, so it's really interesting watching just how freight cars evolve over the decades. Just improve their designs and things like that. So we're looking at it and we're interested in it. So we'll keep checking it out. Tank cars are pretty general. I mean, there's a lot of different tank cars, kind of like what Matt's saying. So if there's something really specific, like you're looking for more LPG cars, more, crude oil cars, clay slurry, things like that, let us know. That'll help us kind of narrow down what exactly to look into. Another comment out there from Daniel Leduc, SD40-2 Genesis maybe. I'll add in a question mark there for you.
Maybe. What's this maybe? You either want it or you don't.
There is no maybe. Either do or don't.
So let's see here. We also have Metra Heritage MP36s. That's kind of akin to, our F59 PHIs. What do you guys think?
It's that dang True Line train spooling, Matt, that nobody wants.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the status of True Line trains is anymore these days. It's some manufacturers you hear a lot about and some you don't. And especially being up in Canada, they've been pretty quiet recently, and I'm not sure if there are plans to bring that one back for them or not, or what. I'd be interested in the project, though. Of course, There's always the deal with licensing. I want to state that up front and foremost for all the transit agencies, that licensing is a killer. Thankfully, a lot of the transit agencies that we produce road names and road schemes are pretty amenable. I know Amtrak is very great to work with. Matt Donnelly's a very nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we've not had a big problem with Metrolink out there in Southern California. But some of the transit agencies that the MP36 is on could be a deal breaker for that whole project for us. And since we haven't pursued the tooling on it, we just don't know. So.
Also, we have a request for BNSF 72-foot refrigerator cars.
I would like some of those too. So
those are the icicle cars, right?
Yeah.
Those are neat.
Also, was that Janek?
Oh, I see a lot of those on any BNSF manifest out here. There's at least 6 or 10 of them on there. So.
Well, those cars too have gone into secondary service under leasing companies, and you can still see them out there with the BNSF logos patched over, but still with the icicles on them for like CEFX and a number of other banks and stuff. We also got a comment and request from Scott Walter for GP38-2s in modern UP paint. Thank you for that, Scott.
Scott, stay tuned in 2020.
Another request here for Athearn Genesis center beam cars from Austin Jacques.
Did somebody find my wish list and publicize it?
I know, right?
Let's see. 72-foot reefers, center beams, ACUs, Dash 9s.
SD24Bs.
Yeah, the SD24s for sure.
That's Matt's hit list right there, just verbatim.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's my hit list.
Yeah.
Gordon Fletcher's looking for an MRL caboose. It's something that we might be able to do, actually.
Some of them, because don't they have one or two that are XBN prototype?
2 of them were XCB&Q.
CB&Q, okay. So we'd have to figure out the number series on those, but I think those could be done on the NE13 probably.
We also have another comment here from Alex Desmone. He's looking for, would love to see some Chicago Great Western F units in as-delivered paint scheme. I think those were the ones that actually had the horizontal striping that went along with the body.
I think when we did those last time, we did the solid maroon or red, which was the later scheme. So yeah, we should come back and do the as-delivered ones.
Let's see here. Moving along. We got someone giving us a second on the center beam models. The NSC ones are hard to find.
I was going to say the center beam comments have been hot and heavy after that, so I would assume that there's demand for center beams.
Seems like it.
I don't understand why. You only see like 1 million of them out there.
I know.
I was watching the Tehachapi cam last night, and I swear I saw a UP train go by, and 90% of the cars were center beams.
Yep.
Well, and there's been at least 2 storage tracks here at Champaign Yard full of them.
So here's the one. This is a CN-9 with the cab windows cut out and the corners. Will go well with the Rio Tinto -9s and the FMG -9s. I think we've woken up some of the Australian modelers out there, Matt. What do you think?
Excellent. With the cutout in the windows cut out in the corners. I guess you're referring to the the teardrop window. And then, of course, FMG. That would be really good because something's got to be ran with those SD90s that we made. So just have to wait and see on that.
Along the lines of more freight cars, patch coal porters, and then another gentleman down here, Joel Ashcroft, or sorry, it's Ramsey. He's looking for some BNSF ones.
Coal cars, yeah. Always can go for more coal cars. Yeah, Janek made a bold statement late last week, Chris. He claims that he has more coal cars in his apartment now than I do.
Here, let me get the ruler.
It's because of all the samples they're sending me. So I've got quite a few right now.
Let's see
Probably
here.
still
Oh boy.
I see a lot of
5161s. Dylan, we've got more coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more coming of those.
Oh yeah.
And there might be some new reasons for more announcements too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about
There's a
time.
request for a UPS FP7s. That sounds kind of odd, doesn't it?
That is odd, but it is a rebuilt SD60M 2-window.
Mm-hmm.
So
kind of pertains to our comment earlier about what the next step is for the 60Ms and the 60Is and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Our good buddy Rob Grubber is asking for some Cargill 5161s, please. Well, since you said the magic word, Rob,
he did.
We'll do them just for you, Rob.
So the comment down below Rob's on YouTube, rather, Alley Chat, about the ore hoppers. I'm assuming that you're looking for ore hoppers to go with your FMG locomotives, because you're down in Australia. I remember from last week. What prototype ore hoppers would you like, and therefore what schemes? Because again, I'm assuming you're looking for Australian, because we have kicked around the ore hopper idea to make a car for those 90 Max, the Phase 2s. But I seem to remember that the Western Australia ore trains all have different prototypes. So what would you go for? Would you be okay with the car that we have in a close paint scheme, or were we talking full-blown Genesis level quality road specific ore cars for the Australian stuff?
Before we go too much further, I just want to say we'll be on here probably another 2 minutes answering your questions, and we got skunked again here at this crossing, waiting for some CSX action. But maybe we'll find another rail cam that'll give us a little bit more trains for the next time we do this.
I think someone tipped them off that we were going to be watching.
That's pretty typical. All right, which one of you guys is the X factor here?
I don't think it's me. I think.
Well, along with the CPSD70 ACUs, we have a request for some Norfolk Southern ones. Remember those?
Yeah, remember those. Until they went and changed some of them for helper service.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Someone was asking for a Burlington Northern caboose. If I could pull it up, it was Austin Jaycox.
Well, if it's an XCD&Q, then that shouldn't be too difficult, right?
Yep, that's true. And Stephen Doss has put in a request for some Wisconsin Southern, or Wisconsin Central, my bad, Montana Rail Link SW1500s in Genesis. Joel Ashcroft puts out there SDP40.
Those had an extended frame too, didn't they, compared to the SD40s, didn't right?
Yeah, they were the same bolster distance.
Okay. ETA on the B&O ICC cabooses. Eddie, we're still looking at a summer delivery on those.
Let's see here.
Genesis CF7.
From Joe Bahanan.
That's an interesting request. The CF7 is just an interesting prototype to update to Genesis. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, after the CNFA, those things went everywhere.
Right.
There's a lot of road.
It'd be probably like rebuilds on top of rebuilds for CF7s. It'd be very interesting.
Yeah, it would be. All right, guys.
We have our bro Jack Ross putting out a request for some more SP stuff.
Well, since Jack asked for it, I think we'll have to ignore it.
Well, guys, I think we're pretty much wrapping it up here. Really appreciate everyone coming and dropping in and seeing what's going on and trying to see if we could shake up some trains here as far as like railfan action. Unfortunately, we did not. Let's see. We did cover some SD70Ms and then also the Western Pacific FP7s, and Janek got to show off some of the new containers he's been working on. So appreciate everybody checking in, and if you're interested, be sure to watch back this video. You can pause it, rewind it if you really want to kind of discern some of the details that we get into. So we'll catch you next time around. Thank you, guys.
See y'all later.